guys, this is Laurel. Hey, I'm doing something a little bit different than what I had originally planned to put out this month, but I am heading to an art journaling retreat very shortly, in less than a week, and I won't have time to do that one. So what I thought I would show you instead is how to do a hybrid project using some of your leftover papers. These all came from digital kits, and what I did was I took them to an office supply store and I had them printed onto laser papers just in case if I wanted to glue or Mod Podge and was worried about the print smearing. I have an inkjet, so that's not as optimal for me, so I often take digital papers I want to work with for a hybrid project into the office supply store and have them printed off. Now, if you are new to my channel or you are new to digital and hybrid paper crafting, let me just explain really quickly. Digital means that you're using all digital computer created supplies to create a page on your computer. Some people do it on mobile devices. I usually do it on my laptop. And hybrid means a combination of both digital and traditional scrapbooking or crafting supplies. And so that's what I'm doing here, is we're doing a hybrid project. So I want to show you, I made up some keychains to take to this retreat I'm going to, because it's kind of a thing at some art and craft retreats, conventions, whatever, to bring something to trade. You know, I know some people, they go to other types of conventions, trade pins. At this one, people are trading little mixed media handmade items that they've made. So I thought let me just show you this right here. This is a keychain that I made to take to trade with other people. And it's a Cork keychain. I don't know how well you can see it, but here's the keychain extension, and here's there's a little ribbon right there. I'll go ahead and put up a picture so that you can see some of these better. But anyways, I thought that would be a really fun thing to do, is to trade Cork keychains. So this is the finished product, kind of what it's going to look like. Not all of these are the same. I used lots of different things to create them, different types of ribbon, different types of types of items to wrap around the cork, like this one that you see in the bag. That is that has washi tape around it, which you could use instead of digital paper. But I just wanted to show this because I used all these paper scraps to create cards or other hybrid projects, and I have enough to use that I think I can still make it work to use it for this. So use them up, and then you'll need some corks. Some of you may have some of these around already because you drink wine. I don't drink, so I don't have wine corks on hand. So I ordered a whole bunch from Amazon from this seller who had a lot of very interesting corks had to gather together, and I will link you to that below. Then you need a keychain of some sort. I like the ones with the lobster clasp. Oh, I can't say it. To go on the end of my cork, because I think those are just a lot easier to use. But you'll need like the key ring and something to clip it to the keychain with. So I chose the one with the lobster clasp. You will need 2 larger washers that are about 3/8 inch. I'm not as good with metric measurements, but I will put those on the screen for those of you who use metric. This one is about these two are about 1/2 inch. And then I have 2 head screws, or some people call them eyelets, or there's other names for these two. These are the opening on these is about 1/2 inch. You can get slightly bigger or slightly smaller. They just need to be able to accommodate your keychain. And then on the other one, we're going to put a piece of either a strip of fabric or ribbon or whatever else you want to use to kind of create like a little tie on the end of your keychain. That's completely up to you. The theme of this art journaling retreat that I'm going to is like a Highland fling. So I'm going to put I tried to put some plaid ribbon on the end of all my keychains. So that's just kind of what I did, or have some plaid washi tape or something. This glue, this E6000. It works pretty good. It smells and it stinks, I'm going to warn you guys, but it has a nice bond and it works great for this project. There is a smaller version of this tube that has a little, it comes with a couple of little nozzles that you can put on the end, which I really suggest that you do instead of this guy, but I went through that really fast, so I ended up getting the larger tube. And then at some point I stick the toothpick inside the glue cap to just pull out enough to stick into the cork to glue things together, and I'll show you that in just a little bit. And then finally, guys, I would suggest paper scissors to cut your paper with, or a paper cutter, whichever you want to do. And to make it, if you're going to make more than one of these, like I made close to 100 of these, so I wanted my fabric scissors to create a little notch in the end here, which I'll probably show you how I did that, try to see if I can improve this one a little bit because it's a little raggedy. So anyways, what you want to do when you start off with the cork, this little cork here by itself, is first thing I did was to glue the washers onto each end. So I'll show you. If there's glue residue sticking out or it's on top of your washers, that's fine. You can scrape it off with a knife, like an X-Acto knife or some other sharp knife if you don't like that. So what we're going to do is we took our 3/8 inch washer and you're going to stick that on there. And then you're going to go right behind it with the glue again. And this time I am going to use my trusty dusty toothpick. Okay. And I just want enough glue on there to stick the smaller washer right straight on top of that larger washer. It's hard not to get residue, but I'm going to try to keep it minimized as much as I can. And so this is what you want right here. We're getting some reflection, but you want, if I turn it to the side, you can see it, you want the bigger washer and then the smaller washer. Now, what I did when I did this was I let these guys dry 100% and completely before I turned it over and repeated the process on the other side. And again, 24 hours. Then you turn it over and you're going to repeat the process exactly the same way that you did before in place. And if you look, the hole created by the smaller washer, that hole in the center, that's where you're going to put your eyelets or your head screws. Now, I'm going to bring in one that I've already finished, that the glue is nice and dry, so that I can show you what I did. This is just kind of like what it's going to look like next. What you want to do after these are all dry is you're going to take your head screws and you're going to screw them into each end of your cork. Okay, so even though this is what it looks like when you let the glue dry and everything's nice and kosher, right? You're going to stick those head screws in. I'm going to come back to this one. I know it's not dry and I'm telling you to do as I say and not as I do. But I just want to be able to show you this since I kind of forgot to show this along the way. I also have some pictures that I took while I was doing it. I just didn't think to film, so I will try and include those pictures here. So what you're going to do is pick up one of your eyelets or head screws or whatever you call these little guys, okay? Now what you're going to do is you're going to aim your head screw to be screwed right into the cork right here. Now there is no special way to do this. Sometimes I can feel I'm just going to thread that into the cork. I sometimes can feel it kind of going into the cork crooked, and if you want, you can pull it back out and you can certainly try again. But for me, as long as the screw isn't going to stick out the side of the cork, I really am not super concerned because nobody is going to see what it looks like on the inside, okay? Nobody's even going to know. The head screw in as much as I can. And so it's not giving me much anymore. And sometimes they don't screw in really tight, and that's okay as long as you got it in where you feel like it's good and tight. That is great. And then once I have that hole created here, stick that toothpick in there again, or again, if you have a precision tip, you don't even have to do this part. And I got some glue on my toothpick, and I'm just going to stick it right down into that hole where I had the eyelet threaded into. And see, this is another reason why you want to let that dry, because since I didn't have time to wait for this to dry, my washers are trying to slide around on me, so I just moved them back into place. And again, okay, now what you're going to do is you're going to repeat the process with this side, with the other side of your keychain, your Cork keychain. And that's what we end up with here, is you got 2 of those eyelets on each end of your keychain. All right. So now what you want to do is you need to decide which little doodah you're using. If you're going to use pattern paper, or you can use washi tape, because that's what I used on a lot of the ones that I did that I'm taking. You can decide which of your pattern papers you're going to use to create a little strip. I think I might choose this one. It's kind of a goofy shape, but I think it will work out just fine. So I'm going to use this Cork, and I'm just going to look at about how thick I want that. Okay, so probably no thicker than this guy right here. So I'm just going to go ahead and take my scissors and cut it across. If you want it more precise, you knock yourself out, you get your paper cutter out, and you go for it, okay? Because this is your project. I'm just showing you what I did. I'm going to make this a teensy-weensy bit thinner, just because I think it'll look nicer. And again, it does not have to be perfect cutting, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and again, this would be something that I would do after everything was dry. There we go. I'm going to take some of this glue just on my finger, and I'm going to dab it around the circumference of this cork. Okay? You can use, if I have my toothpick, I'd be using that. Or you could use, you know, some people have little spreaders or whatever. Whatever you decide you want to do, you do. You do you, okay? So I'm going to put glue around there. And now I'm going to take this little strip. And I'm going to follow kind of the edge of the washer. And again, if your washers are dry, then they're not going to budge, because this is a good solid glue. Okay? And I'm going to wrap that paper around, so it creates a little an interesting little piece there. And now I'm going to put some more glue right here. I'm just going to kind of glob it there, because again, I'm not selling these. This is just for fun. So that's just me, and that's how I feel. You totally don't have to feel that way. Okay, so now we've got both. We've got our little decorative pattern paper. And even with washi tape sometimes, like when I did this other one that had washi tape, there were still times I had to go to the edge where the tape was trying to peel up, and I had to put some washi tape there, or not washi tape, some of this glue that I'm using, and I had to glue the end of it, and then I let the glue dry for a little bit before I did anything. Like this is, some of it's trying to peel away. And the best thing to do is just set it down on the part that you're trying to get it to dry, and then you can just you just let it sit there until the glue is good and solid. Okay? And so now you're going to finish your keychain. Okay, so hold on just a second. So what we're going to do is we are going to go ahead, and I'm going to show you how to finish the keychain. So if you have your handy dandy keychain that you've got, and I bought ones that were smaller. It's pretty darn easy. It'll work the same way with this one. It's just a slightly different size. So what I chose to do, and this is just me, you could do it a different way. I put the lobster clip on the side that had the tape or the washi or the pattern paper or whatever it was. Okay. You're going to take your piece of ribbon or fabric or whatever you cut, and you guys, when I craft, I just have to tell you, I'm not real precise in terms of measuring. I mean, this isn't quite 1 inch thick, I don't think. See? This is, because I use pinking shears on it, this is like 3/4 of an inch. 3/4 of an inch wide. Okay? You can make this a little thicker or thinner, depending on your choice, or, you know, if you buy a bolt of ribbon, it'll be based on the width of your ribbon. Okay, so now I'm going to pick up this keychain. The easiest way to create like that little notched look, like on this one, you can see I made notched ends, so it looked kind of like a little banner on the edge. The easiest way to do this, and I can even still do it here when I've messed this one up, is you just go into about the center of the ribbon. You just cut this little, you cut yourself a little slit. I think I've showed this to you on videos before. Then you're going to go to either side, just clip here, and go to the other side. Okay, and you just clip till you get those two little things separated. And if you don't like it, and you think it doesn't look good, like this one I buggered up a little bit, I'm just going to go back and clip those edges on the side. And if you feel like you've gone too far up to the center, you can just clip your, and keep going and just clip another slit, another little slit, and try it again. This is a pretty forgiving method. It takes a little practice, but see, that looks much better than what I showed you just a minute ago or so. Okay, and this one's not perfect, but I'm just going to go ahead and leave it because it's good enough. So what I'm going to do now is bring those two ends together, and I'm going to pick up whatever keychain I want to put this through. And I kind of do fold it one more time just on the end so I can get it through the head screw or the eyelet, whatever you want to call it, and put it through the eyelet. All I did was slip the loop through the eyelet. Now I'm going to take these two ends that are dangling down here, and you can see we've created a hole or a loop through the fabric or the ribbon or whatever it is. So I'm going to just stick my finger through there to see where the loop is, and then I'll just move it out. I'm going to stuff those two loose ends up through that loop, and I'm going to give it a snug little pull without ripping the fabric or being too tight, being too rough with it. And then if you just smooth it with your fingers a little bit, you've got this darling keychain with the keychain on one side, some paper or washi tape or whatever right here. You've got the cork, and if it, it has any writing or personality, you'll see that. And then on the end, you'll see the ribbon. And you can just, I encourage you guys always to just use your stash. So anyways, now this one is looking pretty good. I can see that the fabric on that is, or not the fabric, the leftover paper that I printed is good. Guys, I will show you a few more pictures of some of the other keychains I did just to give you an example. I will also put more pictures on my blog about this process and the steps I took, and I will see you guys when I return from my retreat, and I will let you know how people like these. Alright guys, thanks so much for watching. I'll talk to you later. Bye!